Hi guys, welcome back to We Are Tottenham TV. The pre-season friendly between Kobe, or Vissel, Kobe is their official name, and Tottenham has finished 3-2 to Tottenham Hotspur. A very typical Ange Postecoglou Spurs game, lots of space everywhere, lots of chances, lots of goals, but in the end, Mikey Moore scored the winner with just a few minutes left.
Come on, Mikey.
And Tottenham take their third victory of pre-season. I'm here with Amir, we watched it together on the watch-along. Always good to get a win, and a lot to be excited about after watching that game, I think.
A ton to be excited about. And honestly, Barnaby, you know, the script played out just as I would have liked. The youngsters came on in that second half. They injected, you know, fresh blood into our team. And I'm just delighted for Mikey Moore. You know, he got his name on the score sheet, got the winner, and we got the job done. It's a really great feeling. And apart from Mikey, you've got so many other talented youth players that we saw come on and have a really good impact. In fact, we looked fresher in that last 30 minutes than we did in the first half. So I'm just really delighted. But we'll get into a few of those youngsters that did really well.
Yes,
today.
Absolutely we will. So we're just going through what happened in the game. 1-0, we went 1-0 down after 8 minutes. And that happened because Kobe had a little transition breaking forward, and they had a cross from the right-hand side, left-footed, bending in, and actually there was nobody there for them. There was no danger. But Pat Matasar didn't get a shout loud enough from Vicario or from Pedro Porro. Actually, I remember Pedro Porro, you can see if you watch that goal back, he's got his arms out like that as if to say you can leave it, but he doesn't seem to scream loud enough. So hopefully we'll learn from that, because Pat Matasar thought there might be some danger behind him, and as a result he slid in hoping to kick it out for a corner, and he only succeeded in kicking it straight to their striker, who put it in the roof of the net. So that was 8 minutes gone, 1-0 to Kobe. But not long after, 15 minutes or so into the game, Pedro Porro equalised 1-1. Deki Kulusevski, after some lovely build-up play with a beautiful flick round the corner, Porro looks like he's going to shoot across the keeper, right-footed into the far corner, but instead cuts inside his defender and places it beautifully into the far corner with his left foot. And as Amir said at the time, not many fullbacks around who have that composure in the final third.
Brilliant finish by Pedro.
Then in the second half, 47 minutes gone, 2-1. Pedro Porro with a beautiful long-range through ball inside the fullback to Brennan Johnson, who does absolutely the right thing. It's classic Ange ball, really. Whips the ball across the front, and Heung-min Son flies in at the back stick to make it 2-1, kind of slotted finish into the far corner. Then on 63 minutes, 2-2, Archie Gray, who we will talk about, he played from the start and was wonderful. His only bad touch of the game, unfortunately, led to their equaliser. It came to him in central midfield. He had a bit of a bad touch. It wasn't an easy touch, but it was a bit of a bad one. On transition, they then got forward and had a shot, and Emerson Royal slid in to try and stop the shot, but it ended up deflecting off him into the goal. Emerson Royal, someone else we'll talk about, because we were all, I think, fair to say, surprised that he started the game. And then, as you mentioned, a couple of minutes to go, Mikey Moore, some beautiful football down the left-hand side between Jamie Donnelly and Manor Solomon, actually. Donnelly got to the byline, cuts it across the front, and Mikey Moore could not miss, got himself into a beautiful A1 position to score the winner, and his reputation and his value will just continue to go up. Just to remember, Mikey Moore, 16 years old, the youngest player ever to play in the Premier League for Tottenham Hotspur, one of the great hopes of English football, and he only turned 17 in a couple of weeks' time, which is when he can sign his first professional contract. But let's go back to that kind of first half where we started, Amir, with basically the majority of our first team from last season. Emerson Royal playing at centre-back. You were surprised about that?
Yeah, I was surprised, Royal. You know, there's been a lot of talk of him going to Italy. There are a few clubs in for him. So I'm just surprised. You know, they know the player they're getting, so we don't really need to put him in the shop window. So why is he still getting minutes when you've got other players that you could be playing there? I don't know. Maybe there's a sign that maybe that's a sign that the talks have broken down and that he's staying. I'm not too sure. I guess we'll find that out. But in that first half, I think we did really well in some parts, some aspects of our game. You know, the link-ups for the goals were good. Kulu was good.
The first 15 minutes were difficult, weren't they? Because they were Kobe clearly were in the middle of their season, much fitter than us.
Yeah, and we were also rusty a little bit. You know, even Madders losing the ball a little bit. Sarr was completely not himself today, making mistakes, and he wasn't covering the pitch as well the way we're used to. You know, he's usually box to box, he's everywhere. So yeah, it's just getting that rustiness out of some of the players' legs. But overall, I think the play was good in that first half. Just a little bit sloppy.
What did you make of Decky Kulusevski started the game as the false 9 with Sonny playing on the left and Brennan Johnson on the right. Do you like Decky Kulusevski as the 9?
I actually quite like him in that position. I think he did well. The assist for the goal was really nice. I think with his hold-up play as well, he's got some room for improvement, but I think he's learning. He's building into that role. It gives him a bit more unpredictability. Is he going to take it on his right, on his left? And I'd like to see him there a little bit more. He's going to be a real utility player this season, I can see, plugging in on that right, maybe sometimes in that 10 and sometimes as a false 9.
Yeah.
So
for all the people who I think have been saying in the last few weeks, maybe we should get rid of Decky Kulusevski, I would say you are not going to get many better squad players.
You don't get rid of Kulu.
All you'd ever get for him is like 30, 40 million. You're not going to get many better squad players with that versatility. Also, I mentioned him already. I don't think we should take away from Archie Gray's performance just because he had one bad touch. He was absolutely the player on the pitch, the best player on the pitch for the first 60 minutes. For the first 60 minutes.
By far.
What do you like about him, Amir?
Oh, the composure the kid is showing on the ball. His ability to play out from the back, the passing range. He really does look so composed. Yeah, he's going from strength to strength. And when you're thinking about it, he's not even playing. Well, he played the last few minutes in his normal position, but he was playing at centre back. You're asking an 18-year-old to play out of position, and he's doing it phenomenally well. I'd say even better than some of the players that we do have at centre back. But that's another story.
Yeah, I thought Archie Gray was incredible. That's the kind of first time I've watched the full 90 minutes of him, and I love how composed he is. I love how much he wants to get on the ball. He plays brave passes between the lines all the time. Absolutely what Ange Postecoglou wants. He is fearless, as were all the players who came on around the 60th minute. But before we go into talking about those youth players who were completely fearless, I want to just talk about that Pedro Porro goal. Great to see him scoring early in pre-season. I feel like he's got more goals that he can score for us this season. Obviously, we know he's got a long-range master blaster in him, but also that showed some great composure in the box. How many goals can we expect? I think 5 minimum in the Premier League this season?
Yeah, definitely. Why not? Porro gets himself into those attacking positions all the time. And I'm expecting him to up his game as well. I said it during the match. We expect so much from Porro because we saw the levels that he was at last season. His quality was always up there, and he improved the defensive side of his game as well. So we know he can take instruction on and he can really improve. So I'm thinking Porro will go from strength to strength. Don't even be surprised if he gets more than 5 goals this season.
Yeah. So then, around 60 minutes, I guess, as expected. There were a few subs just before then, but the majority of the young players came on in the 60th minute or so. The players who came on were Spence, Phillips and Abbott at centre-half, Jamie Donnelly, who came on a bit earlier at left-back. Incredibly impressed with Jamie Donnelly. Starting out of position, set up, obviously, the winner in the end. Cultured left foot. I'd been a bit worried, having seen him get some minutes against Man City at the Etihad last season, that maybe he wasn't quick enough, but he seems quick enough to me. And he's a big guy as well. But you really love Donnelly, don't you? Say a few words about how you feel about him.
I love Donnelly. I think he's a phenomenal player. I think today, in terms of the subs that came on, okay, apart from Mikey Moore, he got his goal. I think in terms of the players that came on, he did the best, actually. He hit the post. His link-up with Manor was looking very well as well. Yeah. That link-up play that they seem to have some kind of understanding that they're building on in training. Set up the goal, got his assist, and I think he needs to be in the squad, to be perfectly honest with you.
I mentioned during the watch-along some rumours about Jamie Donnelly potentially getting a loan move to Rob Edwards' Luton, which would be like the upper echelons of the Championship. That might not be a bad thing, but the only reason I say that, and I do really like the look of him, and obviously he can play a few positions, which Ange will like as well, is because I was absolutely blown away once again by Lucas Bergvall when he came on. He is a playmaker. He's a maestro. He's a quarterback. He reminds me of a mix of Luka Modric and Martin Ødegaard, as hard as that is for me to say. He manipulates the ball. He always wants it. He takes positions up in between the lines. He's always begging for the ball, and he wants to be, for me, I think he wants to be the most important player on the pitch. So I was incredibly impressed by Bergvall. Lancashire came on, did a good job holding the ball up. Alfie Devine came on, and I was impressed with him as well. Similar to Bergvall, maybe not quite at the level, but always looking to play progressive passes. Brave, fearless on the ball. And obviously, Mikey Moore, who is, I think, potentially they're not similar players, but I remember very well the clamour about Wayne Rooney when he was coming up at Everton, when he was just 15, 16. He got his Premier League debut at 16, scored that goal against David Seaman and Arsenal at Goodison at 16. And they're not similar players, but he is just clearly a kind of cut above.
I think, yeah, he's a cut above most players his age, and I would say even going older than that, 18, 19, 20, I think he's probably above that lot as well.
Yeah.
Huge things to come. For me, the most important thing, we got to remember we're talking about a 16-year-old here.
Yeah.
Yeah? So very young. There's lots of aspects outside of football that can affect him. So for me, what I'm looking for from Tottenham Hotspur is to have a pathway for him, and not just a pathway, but a way of looking after him. Look what happened to Dele Alli. He was amazing. He had problems mentally, and then, you know, we all know how that ended up.
Yeah.
I do not want to mismanage this youngster. He's a mercurial talent.
Yeah.
We've got to wrap him in cotton wool. We've got to look after him as much as we can. We've got to give him the minutes that he deserves this season. I want to see him playing in Europe this season.
Yeah.
Simple as that. And he will go from strength to strength. We saw it in the game. I was disappointed when he missed that header.
Yeah.
Another lovely ball in, lovely cross in.
Yeah.
And he headed up a bit instead of heading down. But that was fine. He didn't let that affect him. He was still brave on the ball. He was still trying to do things, make things work. The beautiful ball he played through to Spence, creating the chance. And then he's in the right place at the right time, gets his tap in from the perfect Ange ball. Solomon to Donley, Donley into Moore. Game's over. 3-2.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Should also say Jed Spence was impressive when he came on again. He's looked good in pre-season every game so far.
He looks like he wants to nail down a position in the squad.
So here's my main question for you then is, I think he looks like he's got what it takes to be the backup for Toporo, absolutely. But how will he feel when, realistically, the Premier League starts and he isn't going to get a game unless there's suspension or injury? Will he throw his toys out the pram? Or do you feel confident that he knows that he will get enough minutes in Europe and with suspensions and injuries to know that he has a worthwhile part to play in this squad? Because if he does and he's willing to knuckle down, I think he's got great attributes.
Yeah, I think he's the right man for the job. If his headspace is in the right place and he is willing to fight for that shirt, fight for the position, and he's down with the project and Ange and the team and he's happy, then I think we've got a great player on our hands in Jed Spence. I just hope you know, we forget this sometimes as fans, but there's so much of football that is played up here in these players' minds. So I really do hope for Jed, because he's showing me, honestly, he's someone that I did have a bit of doubts on, you know, with his loans out and everything else. So he's really proving to me in this pre-season that he wants to be at Tottenham Hotspur. And if he's playing the way that he's played in this pre-season and he's going about his business in that way, I would welcome him into the squad.
Great stuff. Amir, thank you so much for doing the watch along and the post-match instant match reaction guys. If you haven't already, please press subscribe on We Are Tottenham TV. Give this video a like. Also, come across to my channel at @BarnabySlater_. I give daily Spurs and transfer videos. I'm nearly at 10,000 subs. I'm desperate to get there, so give me a little subscribe and watch my videos. You can find Amir at the Olive Tree Podcast. And what a great day. 3-2 victory. We've got to see some lovely football.
Come on.
Our young hope scored the winner. 3-2. Mikey Moore, what's not to love? Come on, you Spurs.
Come on.